Okay. Island of Iron, Part 1, The Fortress of Steel, the story. Damn, what a wild night. Passing through the thieves' hideout and making my exit by way of the river valley, I soon snuck back into town and met with my contact in the area. The thieves, whose base, their chief, a man named Willie, allowed me support and safe passage through, were there too. To put it mildly, they were pissed off. When they raided the tombs, they found I had already cleaned the place out. All their growling about having taken so many risks for nothing quickly faded when I gave them their cut of the profits that I had promised in order to work with them. I actually let them have a bigger percentage than I originally planned, but I have enough enemies already, so I wanted to keep those guys happy for safety's sake. I gave the dark sword I found in the tomb of Lysander to Willie, as well as the gold skull I found in the hammer tombs, to thank him for his support. After that, everyone was satisfied, and I made a quick exit with my health intact, and still enough gold to make a nice contribution to my retirement fund. Making my way back to the city, I thought about the terrifying things I had witnessed. I knew the tomb job was going to be risky, but my little trip into the underground tombs of Lithsken made getting the eye out of the haunted cathedral seem like an easy task. Sneaking past the undead, I found a secret way into the hammer-controlled area of the tombs. The Hammerites and their hired thugs had gathered quite a bit of treasure from the disturbed tombs and locked them away in a secured room. But with most of their men manning the front lines, it was a simple matter to sneak in and fill my loot bag with a bit more than I needed to carry. But after moving all of those steel plates I'd hauled to the machines of Soulforge to manufacture the tools of Karis destruction, I found my burden to be rather light by comparison. Despite the frightening experience of dodging bands of undead in the rooms and tunnels, my most unnerving discoveries had to do with the living. After finding a group of mech watchers and turrets guarding a well-lit tunnel, which had been dug there from the basement of one of the local nobles, I snuck around until I discovered a secret entrance to the basement, which the local thieves had discovered not long before the crap hit the fan. Entering, I found the body of Ken, one of the local thieves who decided to make his own little treasure hunt into the tombs before his buddies from the thieves' hideout made their own loot grab. Entering the basement through the secret way, I discovered it to be crawling with mechanists. And then I found it. A small room in the basement, locked away from even other mechanists, that had been converted into a macabre laboratory of horrors. Undead kept in cages or bolted to tables for all kinds of ungodly experiments. Opening a wall safe there, I found out who was behind it, a mechanist called Friend Arbez. I was all too familiar with the man, not long before in another one of my rather adventuresome forays, this time in an underwater base the mechs were using as a staging point for their current operations on the Island of Iron. I found references to Arbez in several notes. Apparently our friend is a rather psycho character, responsible for the murders of several servants, and even fellow mechanists who'd stepped out of line. From what I found in his notes, our friend used to be one of the mages of the Hand Brotherhood. Looks like he was too crazy and ruthless in his experiments, even for the Hand. The sick bastard even used children. So they kicked him out. Now he's in the ranks of the mechanists, helping to advance their technology while pursuing his own sinister agenda. When I left the whole mess, I had a sick feeling in my gut that I would be dealing with this character soon, and here I am, staying on the shoreline, just a few miles from the seaside village, just a few miles outside the city. It's been nearly 2 months since my little trip to Lithsken. After laying low in the city for a while the wardens fought each other, Sheriff Mosley had finally been able to restore a semblance of order. With things calming again in the city, I could finally come out from under a rock and get down to business. Journeying to the seaside village, I began preparations. After my last trip to the Island of Iron, seeming ages ago, I always knew in my heart I would be back there. After seeing the great castle and factory there, I knew the untold riches were just lying somewhere inside, if I could just get around the resident undead horrors. But this time it's not about money. It's for blood. I've seen too much terror, too much tragedy, to sit back and do nothing while this friend Arbez is doing Builder knows what in his terrible experiments. He's now undoubtedly doing them on the Island of Iron. The Keepers have been showing me things in their books as of late. Never telling me everything, of course, but from what I can gather, there's something big. Bad events are going to be happening real soon. When I first met Constantine, I thought he was just an eccentric art collector. When I first met Karis, he was a hammer priest. I thought was Just an eccentric but inventive engineer, and in both cases I nearly ended up dying at their hands because of them. I've just heard and read about Arbez, and I know there's trouble looming up ahead for me and a lot of innocent people. He's going down, tonight, from the information I stole from the Hammers and the Mechanists and from various clues from the Keepers, who've been unusually active in helping me. I know that the center of the Mechanist activity on the Island of Iron is located in what they call the Fortress of Steel. The fortress lies on the very tip of the narrow southeastern peninsula of the Island of Iron, with its back almost to the jagged edge of the sea cliffs. Although the location is at the opposite end of the island from the old Hammer facilities, the Mechanists chose it because of its natural defensibility. Plus, it's easy to reach with men and supplies from Markham's Isle. Reconnaissance of the area revealed that none of the large graveyards and underground tombs that honeycomb the rest of the island and explaining the large number of undead there. Apparently the place was used as some kind of secure burial ground for centuries before the Hammers and the others began living and working in the area. From an intelligence dossier lifted from Thorin's headquarters in my nocturnal visit, the Mechanists had initially planned to sweep through the island in a matter of days, destroying the undead and securing its mineral resources for themselves. Yeah, that's just what we need. Mechanists getting more ore to build new killer toys in the titanic factories of New Soulforge. Doubly bad with Brother Cavador back in the mix as a member in good standing of the Mechanist Council, Karis' successors, which consisted of the best and brightest of that crazy bunch. So Victoria didn't kill him after all. I just hope he didn't get a good look at my face when I snatched his ass back in the Lost City. The Mechanists found out the hard way that dark forces are not so easily overthrown, especially in large numbers. After a series of large battles and heavy losses, the mechs have only gained in so far, only so much possession of the area surrounding the fortress and some besieged outposts in the southern half of the island. I'm sure friend Arbez is out there, in the heart of the fortress, tucked safely away, doing builder knows what. Getting to him won't be easy. The fortress is a fairly big place, and the outside is supposed to be lit up like the sun, with whole batteries of watchers, turrets, bots, and fanatics to keep away unwanted guests. But there's another way in. The Keepers tell me that underneath the fortress lies a small sea cave that's connected to the fortress by an elevator shaft drilled through the rock. The Mechanists channel supplies from Markham's Isle and their aquatic facilities through the tunnel. Because the cave's only entrance is by way of the sea, the mechs haven't placed as many defenses there, since zombies aren't known for their ability to swim. That's where I'll make my entry. Since I'll be deep in mech territory with pure stealth being the only way to survive, I'm leaving my sword behind. If I can catch Arbez alone and unaware, just 7 inches of double-edged steel in the form of my trusty dagger should be enough to express my feelings about his diabolical activities. It's time to kill. Alright, let's play. Stalking another psychopath again? Make it worth your while. Rob 1,000 and loot. Why should the Mechanists get possession of this mineral-rich island to gain resources for the manufacture of new killer toys? Make it more trouble than it's worth. See if there's anything you can do with to mess with. In the command center, perhaps, that will create serious problems for their dreams of conquest. Your primary goal is to kill friend Arbez in order to stop his hideous experiments with the undead, but you'll first have to find him. Once you're finished here, get out the way you came in.
Karos, help us!
Friend Dozier, unless thou art blind, you can clearly see the severe corrosion on this cabinet. This means that some of the explosives in here have degenerated and are now seeping toxic chemicals. Get them removed immediately, before they can contaminate anything else or cause an explosion. friend Tilst. P.S. Immediately means now, you rusty gear. If I see this hasn't been attended to when I get back, perhaps you would care to explain your laxness in fulfilling your duties to friend Arbez. He can be very motivational. Whoops. Friend Scobie, I'm sure friend Arbez will be furious when he finds out I still haven't placed the additional watchers by the sea entrance. It can't be helped, really. I've had to strip the extra ones we have for spare parts so our technicians can maintain our existing defenses. Besides, I don't foresee the undead making any amphibious assaults. If some idiot from the outside, besides us, decides to visit here, you and the watcher near the docks should provide deterrence enough. I'm more worried by the spooks in the hills. Defense of the fort from the undead is my first priority, and my orders in that regard come straight from the council. As soon as they send the extra equipment, I'll get the problem solved ASAP. As for friend Dozier, on the other hand, his sloth has gone too far this time. After seeing Tilt's angry note, I'm going to have to come down there myself later on to see that things get done right. I have turned a blind eye to him smoking that herbal remedy when no one is looking long enough. Let him enjoy his all-too-frequent naps tonight. Tomorrow, he's being sent to Outpost 4. See what his laziness will bring him then, friend Alvarez. And by the way, after you eat some of that excellent cheese the novice is bringing down with my note, hide the rest. I'd like to try a sample, and you know how that old man devours everything in sight after one of his smoking sessions. To all personnel, now that the direct threat to our home base has been greatly lessened, most of our combat machines kept in the outer bays will be left inactive with the exception of the machines patrolling the outer corridors. In an emergency, they will be activated by one of the officers in the signal tower. As we have always stressed, remember the FRAM program. Follow up on routine annual maintenance. By following the stated procedures, we will keep our fighting machines in peak condition. Our success here depends on it, friend Ruby. To all personnel, all warriors on combat patrols are required to destroy all zombified remains they come across. It has come to my attention that the remains are being piled up and burned, but then are being left unattended as friends proceed to the next task. This is not following proper procedure. When you are disposing of remains, see to it that they are completely destroyed and their ashes scattered. If time does not permit, then at least have one of the combat bots blow the remains to bits. Bones left intact have a way of coming back to haunt you, friend Tantara. Friend Jake, I didn't see you in the repair bay earlier, so I left this message here. Your work in cleaning and maintenance of the armory is excellent. I'm glad to see you've been taking your duties so seriously. Always remember, young novice, on this evil isle, following procedure not only brings glory to the builder, it also keeps you alive. I've given this message to you as an informal announcement of your elevation as a friend of the Order. Congratulations, young man. Karis's light still shines brightly on our youth. Here is your new assignment, friend. On the morrow, you will be transferred to be under the direct command of friend Arbez himself. May thy mace and thy intellect bring death to our foes, friend Ruby. new combat bot model. This one fires fireballs instead of bombs.
Come into the light so that I might see thee. All is quiet once more. Thanks be to Karis.
Nice arsenal. I think I'll swipe a few things while I'm in here.
I can't get those screams out of my head. Last night, Cassius, Bruce, and I were beyond a patrol route, just beyond the outer defense belt, or as we call it, the final frontier, when Cassius stumbled and fell over the edge of a crevice to the rocks below. I could hear the impact as he hit the ground further down the hillside. Fearing for his life, I called out to him. Cassius replied from the shadows below that he was all right, but his leg appeared to be injured and he would need help getting back up the slope. As I started to carefully work my way down to him, I heard the unholy moans of the undead and Cassius's agonizing cry. "Oh, Builder, they're biting me! Help me! Help!" Hearing his screams as he was dragged off, I drew my mace to advance, only to be grabbed. I'd been pulled back from the darkness by Friend and Bruce. "He's gone, Rurik," he kept telling me. "Race down there and you'll only find a dozen more waiting for you, too. We've got to get back to the Watchers now." Bruce was right, but I cannot shake the feeling of shame that weighs on my heart now. I feel like the greatest of cowards for my flight. I've asked Friend Ruby to be reassigned to one of the further outposts. Bruce thinks I'm crazy. He wants me to take the transfer back to Markham's Isle, that those of us who've seen the most action have been offered, but I won't leave this hellhole until my friend's death has been avenged. Karis be our everlasting light.
For the builder's sake,
I
what
wonder
was
if the
that?
boys and girls shower together in here.
Hide if you can, villain. I shall
Come into the light so that I might see thee. Was nothing then? The drums in mine ears do overly strong. And behold, the man and you will be a spiller of blood. Is that thou, friend? It's that shadow.
Wow, I'm astounded by our new leader, Friend Arbez. Not long ago, I was doing a routine check on some of the turrets near the wall when 3 zombies came out of the caves after me. The damn watcher wasn't working. Of course, those things don't last long in the sea air around here, so the turrets didn't respond. As I stumbled to run, I almost stumbled into Friend Arbez himself. Apparently, he was making one of his surprise inspections when he saw my plight. As those foul things approached, without a word he stretched out his hands and destroyed them with an incredible blast of power from his fingertips. He reminds me of fire magic, of a fire mage I witnessed killing a rampaging Burrick when I was a child. I've never seen anyone do that before. Not even our combat bots can do that kind of damage. Arbez must be especially blessed by the Builder.
joke's on me today. Oh, friend. Was surely just moss in mine eyes. No noise now. Who goes there? If someone is there, then show thyself. Was surely just moss in mine elsewhere.
Dining hall.
Drums in mine ears do overly
New model of Mechanist novice. Everybody thinks it's stupid for me to sleep here so close to the main combat patrol circuit. But their noise helps me sleep better. I know I'm safe when the children of Karis are near to protect me. I only wish the friends in the outpost could sleep as safely as I. I can't imagine what horrors they must struggle with every night out there.
I am diligent. That ha-
New weapon, a firebomb.
Who treads there? What's dragonfly?
Position will be thy place, matching A unto A and B unto B, such that complete is thy seal. Barrier true, rocket crust and dirt, the enemies of the goodly. Is that thou, friend? 'Twas surely just moss in mine eyes. Was nothing then?
Medical center security door override switch. Thou fools! This kind of incompetence will be the undoing of us all. The The fact that the friend brought here was beyond help from his wounds demanded that he be finished off as quickly and humanely as possible and his body cremated in the furnace. Instead, his unconscious frame was allowed to perish and lie on the table while our novice healers rushed about treating the other wounded. Why, must I ask? Why weren't guards stationed in there as procedure demanded? If they were, or the friend's body were properly disposed of in the first place, none of this would have happened. Now our former friend's remains have joined the undead, and those healers and their patients are dead as well, locked behind this door to prevent the contagion from sweeping through the heart of this facility. Pray that they haven't zombified as well when we, and I mean you, storm the room when I get back with more friends. Yes, you incompetents will lead this assault. Consider this to be a merciful judgment. I could just as easily inform friend Arbez when he is finished of your foolish mistake and leave you to his judgment. Trust me, friends, you do not want that. Friend Tantara.
This the boiler, hiss? Or perchance something worse? 'Twas surely just moss in mine eyes.
I can't remember if anything valuable's in the med center. It couldn't hurt to look, but that also means letting out some undead.
What's this?
Reveal your face to me, cat! I'll crunch thy head! I can hear thy trembling breath.
And a new enemy over there. It's a mechanist haunt. Just knock out that helmeted guard.
We are his undoing!
Rest easy, friend, in the eternal fires with our great Karis. Journal of Assistant Healer Novice Colander. Looks like we have a full house tonight despite our expanding grip on the island and the sizable reduction of its inhabitants. Every so often, they find a weakness in our defenses and make us pay for it. Despite our mishaps, we've done fairly well this week thanks to the new network of watchers and turrets in the Central Valley by the outposts. I've just ordered the guards in here to get out. I'm sick of Captain Reglus's men crowding the treatment area and getting in the way. If someone perishes, the other novices and I can manhandle them into the crematorium ourselves. We've had no problems here, and I'm sick of cleaning up broken vials those idiots keep accidentally knocking over with their maces. Most of the patients are resting at the moment, and their recovery is coming along well, with a couple of exceptions. Friend Jackie has sustained severe injuries from combat with haunts. Emergency surgery and massive doses of healing potion have stabilized her condition, but she'll be shipped out to Markham's Isle as soon as the swordfish arrives in the morning. As for friend Alfred, I fear he may be beyond help. I thought he'd surely perished when he was brought in, but his cries of agony let us know he yet lives. I've treated him as best as I could, but there's nothing more I can do until friend Rucus gets back from meeting with friend Arbez. Utilization of servant implants could sufficiently mend his broken frame to keep him alive, but Rucus has strictly forbidden any more servant conversions. I'm sure friend Arbez will not be pleased. Perhaps there is hope for Alfred yet. He's quit moaning in pain and seems at ease now. If he holds out, I'll put him on the swordfish too. Odd thing is, though, his skin seems strangely gray. As a doctor, I've never seen anything like this before. I think I'll make a closer exam. armory. Be armory.
Now someone could get hurt playing with this stuff.
If someone is there, then show thyself.
Friend Kevin's diary. I know techno-magical engineering when I see it. The question is, isn't it banned in the Order of the Gear? Not long ago, I happened to be bringing up some fresh bread to friend Alvarez, who was working late in the command center when I passed by one of those rooms whose door was slightly ajar. Thinking that friend Alvarez had entered there, I stepped in, only to find friend Arbez by himself, working on one of his mech soldiers laid out on the repair table. The mech's head had been opened, revealing the glowing crystalline structures inside. Arbez immediately spun around and gave me one of those cold stares I'd seen only when witnessing him deal with condemned men, stepping out from behind the table and placing himself between the machine and I, obviously so I couldn't see what kind of repair work he was doing. He very angrily asked what I was doing there, when I, stammering with fear, said I was only looking for friend Alvarez to deliver his late-night meal. He always had me fetch for him from the kitchen. Arbez relaxed, and smiled, which wasn't very reassuring either. So, Alvarez is stuffing himself again, he said. Check in the command center or the break room, novice. That's where you'll find him. I thanked him and left, quickly, and delivered the food to friend Alvarez. Thank Hog Arbez doesn't know it, or I'd likely have an accident as others who displease him. But before I joined the Mech Disorder, I used to be captain of the guard, as well as head mechanic in the Academy of Wizards. Although I shunned sorcery myself, that's why I became a follower of the Builder, praised Karis. I saw enough of it to know when those evil arts are being used, and Arbez is using them in the cerebral constructs of his machines. Is this man not one of the early disciples of Karis himself? Where did he learn those methods the warlocks use? Does anyone else know of this? Being just a novice, I dare not speak out against my supervisor, but I fear for the Order's future. One doesn't play with fire without getting burned.
Could I trust my vision, friend? Look keenly there, friend. Didst I see aright? There is still my
Friend Alvarez. Hopefully, I'll get to see more action with my sword. Because of the risk of any official visitors to the fortress, I can't keep it with me while at the base. But I never go outside on patrol without it. It's easier to wield than my mace, and far more effective against zombies too. It's been in my family for generations, the one piece of old hammer-forged technology that I still respect. Chapel.
I'd say the word cult is just too gentle a word to describe these guys.
And the plaque says Karis saves. Oh, and we got the loot goal. I wasn't even paying attention. Kneel, novice, and know only in the words of Karis will thou understand the mysteries of the machine. I believe that passage goes back down to ground level.
Who's there? What noise dost make?
Oh, friend. Oh!
Who tread?
Remember, novice, weak flesh only exists to create and glorify the builder's children of steel.
Hello? Someone there?
Oh yeah. By either window is this
'Twas a
custom
memory
model
leaves
of
flapping.
it's a cannon.
Nothing more.
A noise.
dragonfly
I'm as sure of it as the
about?
builder himself.
No reason to bother them right now.
Come into the light so that I might see thee.
Friend Tantara.
Will thee-
No, that's the command center, but I'm not going in there just yet. Friend Rukus, Chief Medical Officer. I fear my trip to Markham's Isle has been in vain. When I gained a private audience with Brother Cavador, I spoke about all the recent occurrences under the reign of Friend Arbez, not to mention the revelation to me by one of the friends who'd witnessed recently a shocking display of raw power from Arbez in a skirmish with some zombies, power unlike anything we have seen. I had held high hopes that Cavador would try to press for an investigation of what is going on the island. Instead, he grew quiet and murmured something about the matter being out of his hands. I've known you since we were both hammers in the Old Order, I said, and I know when you aren't being truthful. With your standing in the council, you could easily sway them to at least send a team of observers to the castle to see what's really going on. Call it an official delegation to see the excellent progress Arbez is making firsthand, I pressed, trying to look him in the eye without being disturbed by the terrible scars on my old friend's face, amazed beyond the pagans who did that to him. Something is going on. Even his closest friend and follower, Tilst, was shaking like a leaf the last time I saw him at the fortress, even though he gave us all the usual all-is-well message before making the dangerous trek back to his master's headquarters. Cavador simply repeated his message about not being able to intervene, then offered me a position as his assistant in the new Power Crystal research program on Markham's Isle, which helped produce the impulse engine that gives us most of our power at the fortress. From the tone of concern in his voice, I could discern he fears for my safety here. He didn't want me to go back at all. I refused his offer, stating my duty was to go back to see the will of the Mechanist Council enforced and the honor of Karis upheld. Cavador was upset, but gave me his blessing. As I was leaving, he told me, "Do not confront that man." He told me, "But keep your eyes and ears open. If thou can find any hard evidence of wrongdoing presentable to the Council, maybe then something can be done." I intend to do more than sit and wait. It's time for my own little investigation. Official roster of Mechanist army groups used in operations on the Island of Iron. Leadership: Commander-in-Chief of all operations, Friend Arbez. Second-in-Command, Friend Tilst. Central Base Military Council, Friend Alvarez, Friend Ruby, Friend Tantara, and Friend Rucus. First Army, commanded by Friend Timothy. Mainly novices and engineers currently stationed here. Second Army, commanded by Friend Chandra, consists of foot soldiers and crossbowmen, presently occupies the outposts with surviving elements of the 4th Mech Army. Third Army, formerly commanded by Friend Caradoc, killed in action fighting near the old castle. Top warriors and Class 1 combat bots, nearly wiped out in brutal fighting during the last extermination sweeps. Survivors sent back to Markham's Isle for rest and to receive new replacements and machines. Fourth Army, led by Friend Lin, recommended by Second-in-Command Tilst to receive the Might of Karis Award for bravery. Mostly Class 1 combat bots with 3 spider bot squads. Small contingent of soldiers and technicians. After heavy losses and near continuous fighting since our arrival, while here the 4th Army is dissolved with surviving elements incorporated into the 2nd Army for garrison duty. Remainder of spider bots have been upgraded and added to the 6th Army. 5th Army, commanded by Friend Lincoln, newly arrived from Markham's Isle, 2nd largest Mechanist army on the Isle. Large force of foot troops reinforced by new force of combat by new force of Class 2 combat bots, firebots as the rank and file call them, currently stationed here, being prepared for use in further offensives. 6th Army, led by Commander and Chief of Operations, Friend Arbez, Second-in-Command, Friend Tilst. Largest and most powerful mech army on the island. Forces include large contingent of new mech soldiers, which includes the new Omega Squad. Note, these machines have proven to be exceedingly skillful fighters of the undead. Father Karis would indeed be proud of what Friend Arbez has created. Secondary mechanized troops consist of some Class 2 firebots and remaining spiderbots from 4th Army. Human elements composed of large force of armed servants and novices from Markham's Isle, with Grade A certification in technology and mech repair. 4 squads of heavily armed foot troops also included. 6th Army has breached the walls of the old castle and is currently occupying over half of its area. 6th Army headquarters is located in the castle's central tower. Being the most precarious outpost on the island, 6th Army supply and reinforcement takes first priority, while operations are conducted from this fortress against remaining undead on the southern half of the island. 7th Army, disbanded for cowardice in the face of the enemy. Surviving members converted into servants on direct orders of Friend Arbez and sent to the castle as reinforcements for the 6th Army. Army Commander Friend Kinnear put to the mace and burned. 8th and 9th Armies, currently being organized and prepared at Markham's Isle in the subaquatic facility, will be used for mop-up operations after total conquest of the old castle and factory by the 6th Army.
Damn, he's not here. The keepers were right. This is going to be a long night.
Your bad night just got worse. He's on the other side of the island. Before you head back to the boat to get there, you need to find yourself a bigger sidearm. That dagger just won't cut it over there. Yeah, to do that, we'll just go to Friend Alvarez's room and pick up the sword. There we go. Friend Tantara, I know my statements run contrary to the smooth running of the gears here, but due to our long friendship and mutual trust over the years, I feel thou will understand why I must speak this way now. I think Friend Arbez has unnecessarily converted large numbers of our wounded men into servants. Why, just recently, Friend Foch was brought in for medical attention for injuries to his shoulder and chest from a fall whilst establishing in one of our hill forts in the Central Highlands. While his injuries were severe, with the proper setting of the bones and administration of healing potions, he would have been back in action. But before I could administer the most basic of treatments, Friend Tilst had him removed from my care. The next day Foch was with us again, with his extremities cyborgized and a servant mask freshly fused to his face. The problem was it wasn't necessary at all. I could easily have restored him just as he was before. Now, I, as well as any good mechanist, would willingly submit my body of weak flesh to be reformed into a servant of the order to serve the builder, should my body be damaged beyond conventional medicine, but the price tag and loss of individuality and our builder-given humanity is far too high to have such a procedure done over a few gashes and a couple of broken bones. What is Arbez thinking? And that business with Friend Kinnear and his men. Such a savage punishment over abandoning an exposed outpost that was about to be overrun by ghouls anyway, to a more defensible position, which a victorious advance was soon made. What was that about? Now he's holed up with the 6th Army on the other end of the island, with the biggest and most powerful mechanized contingent on the whole island, and dozens of servant soldiers. Isn't it strange how we recently haven't been hearing much from the regular troops and novices over there with him, isn't it? Something's going on, Tantara. I know it. But without any solid evidence of wrongdoing, we can't hope to do anything for now. Hopefully by the time you read this I will have already arrived back from my supply trip to Markham's Isle. I have an old friend in the high places there who can be of great help to us. Please keep this note locked away, dear Tantara. Better yet, destroy it soon. If the others were to find out about my thoughts, it could cost us both our lives. Friend Rucus.
Looks like this guy creeps everybody out.
Now, second to the last objective is to disrupt defenses. To do that, we're going to sabotage the control center. Unfortunately, this will set off an alarm, but I wasn't trying to ghost anyway,
Hello,
so...
right there.
Can you believe what's going on in the sparring room? It's for training, not entertainment. Friend Arbez might do as he pleases with the servants, but after tonight, no more contests. Friend Ruby.
For Karis' sake, is there someone there?
There's a noise I heard.
I believe, yes, this is the training room. They're having servants fight each other. Not much which I can do about it, though. Anyway, let's disrupt the Mechanist defenses by sabotaging this machine here. Attention, all friends. As you should all know, this switch controls the Watcher and Turret network in the Central Valley that crisscrosses the island. Do not tamper with the switch without proper authorization. Huh. Yeah. Attention. Yeah. Especially during... Do not tamper with the switch without proper authorization, especially during the nighttime hours. The security of our outpost depends on it.
Oops, did I do that? 99. And don't let those zombies bite.
What? Hello?
All that's left now, yes, is to return to the boat. Simple. But that's only part of the battle. After all, Arbez is on the other side of the island with the largest and most powerful assault force that the mechs have. just take the ladder down again. Or not again, but take the ladder down instead of the elevator. A few more guards here. They finally decided to step things up. But But I have an invisibility potion, so it doesn't matter. And mission complete. Okay. Next time, Island of Iron Part 2, Confrontation. See you then.